Good evening, how are you all doing? Nice of you to join me in the chat. I can see loads of people here already, which is fab. I thought I'd do a quick stream tonight. I was going to video the prize draw, and then I thought I'll do a live stream because I figured out a way of doing it on a computer. So I've got rid of the paper and the little jar, so I've got a proper... Hopefully this will work anyway. So that's the plan. And then I thought we could maybe chat a little bit about Newcastle as well while we're at it. I don't know what... You know, it's always worth talking about Newcastle, isn't it? It's always good fun. So, good evening to you all. Kian was in early. I'm really pleased you're here, Kian. You know, I'm sure there's lots of people who are thinking, if I don't win, I really hope Kian wins. So, we'll see who wins soon. I'll do the draw really soon, actually. We've got loads of people in chat. Mark, Kieran, Peter, good evening. Andrew, Charlie, Lee's here as well, which is awesome. Team Fan 007, nice name. So yeah, so we'll chat a little bit about the upcoming game and Newcastle's position. I had a look earlier. I was putting together the what's left of the season and the current table, and the picture's pretty good for us actually. I think we'll all agree on that. So that's good. Obviously, if you join, a few of you joined me the other day for my failed attempt at a live stream during the Man City game. So apologies if that was you. I'm a bit gutted the way that went in the end. Not just the football, but the live stream. So these things happen. I am plugged into my internet tonight, so fingers crossed it will stay safe. Okay. Yeah, I've gone tech savvy, Peter. Sort of. I think hope this works anyway. So let's. So just to remind you what people are playing, well, people have entered for. So we've got this amazing book, and it is genuinely a really good book. I have read it; it's worth reading. So do that. And we've also got 2 pin badges. I was kind of hoping the second pin badge had arrived, but we've got the Dubravka one here, and then we've also got the away kit from the 97-98 season. It is. I think I've still got an image of it here if I put it on. So there you go. It's that one up there. A bit of a Marmite kit. Some people love it, some people hated it. Personally, I didn't like it as a kit. I think it's actually one of the worst away kits we've had. But I actually, like, genuinely, I'm not just saying this. I think the pin badge actually looks great. It looks loads better than the actual kit. So that's my view. And obviously, yeah, there's stuff to talk about in terms of Richard Masters as well. So maybe we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. Oh, we've got someone from Japan here. Hello from Japan. It's amazing, isn't it, the internet? Absolutely amazing. So, yeah, Peter, we'll get on to my thoughts about Masters' comments a little bit later on. Let's do the prize draw, and let's see if this works, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a random number generator on Google, and I'll show you the entrance list, and hopefully we'll take it from there. So, let's see if this works. So if I go to here, so there you can see everyone who's entered. So everyone on Twitter, Facebook. Kian is there. He entered on YouTube. I allowed him to do that for, you know, because he's not on any of the other platforms, and I thought that was fine. And then a few people entered on Instagram as well. There were 29 people all together. Okay, so maybe you've spotted your number. I don't know. So let's put up a random number generator. Oh, you know, I practiced this earlier and it worked. So up to number 29. Good luck, everyone, and let's see which number is going to win. Number 4. Number 4 is Kirby Donnelly, who entered on Twitter. So Kirby Donnelly, Kirby, you are the winner of the book and the 2 pin badges for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So well done to you. Please get in touch with me, and I will send you your prize out as soon as I've got the second pin badge from Magpin1 on Twitter, which I'm hopefully is coming tomorrow, because I know that he shipped them on Monday, I think. So it should arrive tomorrow, maybe Thursday, but. There we go. So well done, Kirby. Excellent. Thank you to everyone who entered. Thank you to everyone who subscribed and watched and all that kind of stuff. It's great. Love it. So well done to you, and hope you enjoy your prize. So there we go. Right, who wants to talk about Newcastle? Because that's what we do on this channel. So obviously the game tomorrow is against Bournemouth away. Our first away game, believe it or not, since Project Restart. And yeah, what do you think? Do you think we're going to win? Do you think that we will change the team? Do you think that we'll be all right? Let me know. I personally think that there will be changes. I think, as someone mentioned in the comments, that Bruce kind of has alluded to the fact that he's going to change it up a bit, and it just, yeah. I mean, the players have played 3 games in a week from a standing start, essentially, and that's kind of it, really. I think we're likely to see some changes. It sounds like Saint-Maximin might be rested even, so that probably means Lazaro, is it? Lazaro? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Lazaro? He's only played about 5 times for us, so I don't feel too bad not knowing how to pronounce his name. And also, I'm not great at names anyway, so you know, never mind. A few people not liking that kit, yeah. Peter and Charlie not liking that kit. So there we go. Yeah, so I think he'll go back to 4 at the back clearly. I've had a bit of a think about the Man City game, and I'm not making excuses for Bruce because I think he got it wrong, but I think that at the end of the day, I think he kind of panicked a bit too much about Man City. Not that you don't panic about Man City, because obviously they're so good, but I just think he kind of was too cautious and probably didn't need to be as cautious as he was. I think we sort of showed in the second half that we could have had a better game plan had we gone 4 at the back. But as someone pointed out, the fact of the matter is, when the last few times we've got results against them at St James's Park, apparently we have played 5 at the back. So who knows? But I think it'll be back to a 4-5-1 or whatever you want to call it. Obviously Almiron and Saint-Maximin or whoever fills that void for Saint-Maximin. Obviously in a more fluid formation. I guess when you're in attack it's more 4-3-3, isn't it, rather than 4-5-1, but 4-5-1 in defence. So let's see what people are saying. Ryan thinks Bournemouth will beat us. It wouldn't matter if, I mean, obviously I don't want us to lose. It wouldn't matter if we didn't win the game. I think if we drew it, that would be okay. But an away point at this stage of the season where we're at is fine. But it is really a game that I'd like to see us target and try and win, because they're in the bottom 3. They've only got 27 points. They're not playing well. That's the key. So I hope it's a game we go into and show that actually we can attack these teams at the bottom and get at them, and just they don't have much confidence. I know we've come off the back of the cup defeat, but at the end of the day, it's the cup, and we just have to move on. We had good results last week against Sheffield United and Villa. Even though the Villa result was a bit disappointing, it was still a good point, and it's put us in a good position. And Bournemouth is a game that we should be targeting to win, absolutely. Toonfanos 007 saying, as long as Joe Linton never gets on again. Yeah, I mean, I've tried to defend him, but it's not easy to do that. But I still think that at times he's a victim of circumstance. But at the end of the day, he should have done more. I think there's kind of a balance, but he's £40 million. If you're £40 million, if you valued at that, I think maybe you've got to kind of come in and do better. Andrew thinks we're going to make 4 or 5 changes. Yedlin, Lazaro. I'm going to say Lazaro until someone corrects me. Okay, so if that's not how you pronounce his name, tell me how to pronounce it. Jonathan thinks Bruce has been shocking with fitness management. That is one of the problems with managers like Bruce, isn't it? Because that to me is what separates the top managers from like the average and like not good managers, and that's being polite. Because whenever you get a top manager, they really work the team hard, and the reason that they can compete at a high level is generally because they finish games strongly because they're fitter. And we were like that under Rafa. A lot of the points we got under Rafa were because of our fitness towards the end of games. And I think you're right. He's not training them as hard, Jonathan, and I think that costs us in a sense. I don't know. Yeah, I think there's something in that anyway. I'd probably try Joe Linton on the left and play Carroll up front. Yeah, there's a bit of it. I've read that. I've sort of seen a couple of people say that. Play Joe Linton in a different role. Give him a chance. I had a conversation with someone earlier about maybe experimenting a bit with formations. Trying things out now that we're essentially safe. We are essentially safe, I think. So, I mean, I'll just put the league table up. This is what I sort of figured out earlier. So we're 14th, 39 points. We're 6 ahead of Brighton. Brighton currently getting beat at least 2-0. Is it still 2-0? Let me check my scores. 3-0. It's now 3-0. So, Brighton obviously not doing anything tonight, which is good. So, anyway, and not that would matter to us anyway, but we are, 12 points clear of West Ham, Bournemouth and Villa. That Lee pointed this out to me the other day. I hadn't considered goal difference, but essentially our goal difference as well is like an extra point at the moment. So that really means that West Ham and Bournemouth need to win 4 of their last 7. At least, really. Probably 4 wins and a draw. And Villa need to win 4 of their last 6. I mean, it's just they're not going to catch us. And really, should our focus not be on trying to finish in the top half? Because actually, we're only 4 points from Arsenal, 5 points from Sheffield United now. I'd like to see us try and finish this season as strongly as possible. And if I just flash this next slide up with our remaining fixtures, we've got Bournemouth, then West Ham. So, if we can take another 4 points from those 2 games, I'd be really happy with that. How many points would you lot like to see us take from those 2 games? Would you settle for 3? Would you settle for a couple of draws? Or would you like us to get, I think 4 would be a good return from Bournemouth and West Ham. I think we should be beating one of those teams personally. I am saying it correctly. Thank you, Kieran. Lazaro. So there we go. Yes. I feel good about that. Lee Forster. Sorry, Lee. Get your surname out. I told you I was rubbish for names. Should know your name, really, shouldn't I? Lee says, the biggest advantage they have is 1 game in 7 days. So they'll be fitter than us. And I think that can't be underestimated at this stage in the season, to be honest. I think that we have to make sure that... I think we have to make changes, and I think we have to kind of be clever in our approach. I think we... not sit off them, but I think we need to kind of not overdo it in a sense. I think we need to be patient, and I think we just need to get at them when we can, but take our chances when we can. I'm not expecting it to be a brilliant game, if I'm honest, but we'll see. Mark Parker says he'd like to see Matty Longstaff get a full 90 minutes. That would be interesting. What do people think about him? Do you think he's going to leave? I seem to get the impression that he might be on his way out because he signed that short contract and isn't committing further than that at the moment. But then I do question how good the contract is that we've offered him. And at the end of the day, if someone's offering you sort of maybe double the amount, even if you're a young lad, it doesn't matter who you are. If someone's going to offer you double to do the same job, you'd probably look at it seriously, wouldn't you? I wouldn't mind seeing him play though. And also the other issue, what about Sean Longstaff? What's going on with him? Should we have taken the money from Man United a couple of years ago when they were on about buying him for 20 million quid, or do you think we should give him a bit more of a chance, see if we can get his form back and see if we can get him back into the form that he had when he first came into the team? Interested to know what you think. Peter says maybe Miggy at 10 behind Carroll and Joe Linton out wide, so wide he's not in the stadium. Oh, bless him. I don't bless him, actually. He's earning a fortune. Dale. Can't get over the Gales miss. Yeah, it was unacceptable, wasn't it? I just think... And you know, he scored that goal against Villa. That was a lot harder. You've got to be scoring that goal against Man City. You cannot put it over the bar from 7 yards out or whatever he was. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Alex says, rest Maximan. Don't want him being overworked and possibly injured. Yeah. And apparently, Bruce was saying, wasn't he, that the kind of lockdown break had been good for him because of he had tight hamstrings, so it's kind of giving him a chance to relax that. We don't want to be overworking him and him popping a hamstring, because that'd be a disaster, not just this season. That's potentially an injury that recurs and then could be a problem for a long, long time. Dale wants 6 points, 2 wins. I mean, I think we can get 2 wins. I don't think we will, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible to win those 2 games. Have we won back-to-back games this season? I'm not. Does anyone know that? Andrew says he'd take 3 points from our next 2. Yeah, I think again, even if we just won one of those games, the position we're in gives us that comfort of not having to panic about getting results. We're not desperate to get results. Obviously, we want them, but we're not desperate for them, and that's good. Peter wants 7 points from the remaining fixtures and he'll be happy. That'll put us on, 46? It's not a bad return. That would be pretty good. I mean, some of the other games we've got, obviously we've got Man City away on the 8th of July. But then we've got Watford away. That'll be tough, but another game where you could get something possibly. Spurs at home. Spurs look like they're kind of playing pretty well, so that's going to be tough. Brighton away. Again, another game where you'd expect us to be able to get something. And then Liverpool at home to finish the season. And they'll probably want to go out with a bang. So that's, again, they're professional footballers. They're going to want to win. I don't buy into this, they've won the league, they're not bothered. Because they're going to be chasing the record points total. They're not going to stop until the very last kick of the last game of the season. Andrew says he thinks that with a better coach, some of the younger players will improve. Yeah, and again, that's the difference, isn't it, between a really good manager and an average one. They improve. They look at things like fitness and they work with youngsters to improve them, and that isn't what Bruce has. He's not that type of guy. I think we all agree that he's a nice guy, but he's not a great football manager. Toonfan 007, go for Europe for new owners. There's an extra place if Man City ban is upheld. I don't think that ban is going to get upheld because a couple of weeks ago I heard that they were possibly relaxing financial fair play. Is that true? I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but I'm pretty sure I heard that. And if that happens, I don't know if they can then uphold Man City's ban. I'm sure it'll be challenged. I'm sure it'll be difficult for them to do that. So I think Man City might get away with it. And actually, from our point of view, if we do get taken over, we want Man City to get away with that because it's kind of, we could be in that situation, and really, it's a load of nonsense that they've been banned in a sense. I think financial fair play is there to keep the cartel of big clubs at the top, and I think that's all it's about. I don't think that's initially what it's meant to be about, but that's what it's turned into, and I don't like it. Andrew says, fearing Danny Rose getting injured because we've got no cover at left back. That's true, we don't. And actually, I think Danny Rose has been playing pretty well as well. So, but I think, what are our options there? We don't really, do we? So we want to keep him safe. Right, okay. Kieran says we won back-to-back games against Southampton away and Sheffield United at home. Oh, of course, yeah, of course we did. Yeah, the gap was so big. The gap was so big. Yeah, that's a really good point. That hadn't even occurred to me. It feels like a different season. That's why it just feels like a different season. So Peter's on about Richard Masters, and he's saying, so anything being said by Masters to suggest which way the takeover is actually going? Well, I've probably seen as much as anybody else. I was at work today, so I just kind of caught up later on. But to me, I saw a couple of clips of him, and I think, although he was clearly not saying anything, and that's totally understandable in a sense, I think he was very much... I kind of got positive vibes from it. I think he was I saw him being interviewed by that Scottish MP, and he was just saying, I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that. But and clearly, kind of, he looked a bit peed off, to be honest. And whether that was just because he knew he couldn't say anything, or whether that was just like, shut up, because this is going to happen. Who knows? But I just think the vibe I got from him was that it should be concluded soon. How soon is soon? How long's a piece of string? Who knows? But you've got to think soon means, you know, in the next few weeks or the next couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to be much longer. And I think the piracy stuff's all right, because he mentioned about be out, because he made another comment earlier on where he said about Be Out Q being shut down. So clearly that was something that they've looked at, they're now happy with. So if that's all in order, maybe they're just crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and it is just a case of waiting. I'm sure it's more complex than what we ever can imagine. That's the thing. As fans, we just want an answer, but it's a complex thing. You know, lots of legal stuff, I imagine. I bet there's a lot of lawyers making a lot of money. Oh yeah, Willems left today, didn't he? He left that. He posted a quite emotional post on social media today. I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it again. I just love it when a player comes to Newcastle and just gets it, just gets the club, gets the fans, is welcomed as part of it. And personally, I would love to see Willems back. I really hope that we do, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. Judging from what he said today, it might be that he moves on somewhere else. Peter's saying if financial rules are relaxed and a new owner comes in, happy days for us. Yeah, and it could end up being a dream scenario for us in that case, couldn't it? It could really be unbelievable if that happens. Andrew says players have been signed at a cut price, the likes of Werner and Sane. Yeah, that's it. And so again, if this happens and we do get the Saudis who come in and want to spend some money, then we are in a great position, because actually, although Mike Ashley has been horrendous for 13 years, and I'm not going to defend him in any way, shape or form, however, his tightness and keeping us in profit, at least in the books, could work in our favour in terms of financial fair play, and that could help us in a marketplace where it's a buyer's market. So, you know, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. We obviously need the takeover to go through sharpish, but we could be in a good position. Yeah, Jonathan, this SMP guy's been drinking that Qatari Kool-Aid. Well, people very quick to link the fact that the SMP MP kind of had dealings with Qatar. So he's not coming from an unbiased point of view, is he? He's not. Mark Parker's asking, is Laurent Robert's son we've been linked with, is he any good? I want to know this. Is he any good? Or, you know, because if he's not, I don't want him. But if he's good, then it'd be quite cool to have him. John Paul, Saudi takeover strengthens the Premier League brand financially. Yeah, totally. And I think that's why the Premier League would be daft to turn it down. I can't see the Premier League, who are a money-making organisation, wanting to turn away so much money. They're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. So I don't know what's going on, but they're obviously negotiating over stuff. And as Lee Forster said earlier on Twitter, give him credit for this, because he said this is now not about Newcastle United. This has turned into what the Premier League can get. And I agree with him. I think that this has turned into something bigger for the Premier League. This has turned into them sorting stuff out for them, for their benefit. Now, if this gets approved, fine. I don't have a problem with that. So let's just hope it does happen. Yeah. 58 million, not exactly a cut price. Well, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, just think we paid 40 for Joe Linton. a few months ago. Obviously, he's decreased his value, but no one will be paying that for a player like that now. Thoughts on Schär? That's a good question. What does everyone think about Fabian Schär's performance? What happened on Sunday? Frankly, I was pretty shocked when I watched their second goal, Sterling. I don't like it when a player stops, to be honest. And I've always loved Fabian Schär, but I was disappointed with the way he didn't do everything in his power to block a shot from Sterling. Because I believe if he'd ran full pelt, thrown himself at it, he could have blocked that shot. I really do. If you look at the footage, but he kind of gave up and literally turned round. It's unacceptable. But he is a good player. Maybe he was just having a bad game. I don't know. I don't know what happened with him. Again, maybe I'm too kind to players, but I'm always prepared to give them the benefit of the doubt. But he didn't have a good game on Sunday, and he can't be doing stuff like that. He can't be doing stuff like that. Could the delay be from the buyer's side? Deal is dependent on us definitely staying up. I don't know about that, because clearly it's still with the Premier League. Because although Masters didn't say anything, what he did say was that it was a confidential process that he couldn't say anything about. So that would suggest to me that something's still ongoing. And like I said in my last video, the Premier League, they're actually not gonna. They won't announce anything. It's not the Premier League who announce stuff. They will make their decision and pass that information on to the buyers and sellers, and then the buyers and sellers make the announcements. So I think it's still with the Premier League. So I don't think it is a delay from the buyer side. And also, we are safe. There's just no chance we're going to get relegated this season. Do I think Newcastle can get in the Europa League this season? I don't think so. I think it'll be too much. Let me put the league table back up. So we're on 39 points. What are we saying? Europa League 7th, is it? No? 6th? I don't think so. I mean, the fact of the matter is, Tottenham are on 45. We're 6 points behind Tottenham, so we'd have to outscore Tottenham, and I think Tottenham and lots of other clubs, by the way, Burnley, Sheffield United. Can't see it. Can't see us getting in there this season, but I would like to see us push for a top half finish, though. We might not get it, but I'd like to see us give it a good shot. Try and win these games that we think we can win. But I think Europa League's too far away this season. It's not possible. So there. Let me just put that back on. So anyway, looking ahead to tomorrow night, what's everyone's score predictions? I was feeling confident-ish at the weekend, but I think the more I think about it, I reckon we'll draw. I think we'll draw tomorrow night. I think we'll probably draw 1-1. And it might be disappointing again, but I don't think that's a terrible result, as long as we then follow up against West Ham and get a win. I'm not sure that we'll have our best players out tomorrow, so that could be a factor. If Saint-Maximin is rested, then that, to me, makes a big difference to how well we can play. I'd love to see Almiron play really well, take the game by the scruff of the neck. We all love him, but there's a few question marks starting to be asked, I think, about Almiron. Do people agree with that? Do you think that's fair? Do you think Almiron needs to start producing a little bit more? What do you think? Because don't get me wrong, again, I love the guy. I think his work rate and his attitude is just fantastic. I'd love to see him play in a team surrounded by better players. I think he's one of those players who would benefit from better players around him. But should he be doing more? Should he be going to places like Bournemouth and running the game? Should he be the one who everyone's talking about after the game saying, Almiron, that's a player? Because I think that's what he should be like, and I think he's got the ability to. I'd love to know what you lot think about that. Jasmine thinks 2-0 to Bournemouth. Yeah, I mean, it's not beyond the realms, is it? Not any result could happen. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous because that's always the case, but I do think that there's a possibility we could lose because Bournemouth are fighting for their lives, and they will see us as a game that they could win. Kieran predicts a 1-1 draw. Same as me. Alex thinks we'll win 1-0 with an own goal. I love it when people predict wins with that. Just gives me the impression that Alex thinks that the game is going to be rubbish. We're going to be rubbish, but we'll somehow sneak a win with an own goal, which I kind of like that. It kind of gives me a picture of the game without actually speaking to him. David Waller puts 0-3. Now, is that 0-3 to us because we're the away team? Or are we going to lose 3-0? What do you mean? Sean can see a 1-1 draw, but with them without key players could well be a scrappy 1-0 win. Yeah, what's Bournemouth's team news? I haven't even bothered to look that up, if I'm honest. So, are they without key players as well? Because that could possibly change my opinion, I guess. Peter thinks we'll win 3-1. And prove a point and bounce back. The one thing about this group of players is that they do try and they have a good team spirit, and I think that counts for a lot. I think that's why we've got so many points, because I think that they do believe in each other. And as I think I said previously on a different show, Bruce can be criticised for a lot of things, but how many times have we seen managers come into a team with a decent team spirit and then that team spirit's been ripped apart? I think that's happened quite often, but to me, Bruce has managed to keep the team spirit going, and I think he should get credit for that, because I think that's really important. We might not play good football, we might have been lucky in a lot of games, but at the end of the day, the team still believe in each other and still want to play for each other. Toonfan 007, 4-0 win. I mean, I hope you're right. But we'll see. Do we always predict the same score, Kieran? I'll pay attention now that you've said that. Maybe we just have the same view on stuff. I don't know. 4-0 win to the Toonfan 07. Yeah. Jasmine said, if Ashley stays, are we going to boycott going to home games? Oh, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, it's just such a hard one. I mean, I'll be honest. I've gone to fewer home games over the last 3 years. I would say I've gone to far less than I normally would, but I've not fully boycotted. I've still got my season ticket. I've renewed for next season already. I'll probably still go, if I'm honest, because at the end of the day, it's hard, and I know people have strong opinions on it. My view is people can do what they want. I don't judge people who don't go. I don't judge people who do go. I don't judge people for not going because of Ashley. I just think everyone can make their own decision, and every view is valid in this situation. I can see every side of it. But yeah, I'll still be going. But I bet there'll be if Ashley stays, I bet lots more people will boycott next season, and the number of free season tickets he'll have to give away next season will double probably to what he had to do this season. Sean says Bournemouth are without Fraser as he left. Callum Wilson suspended. Josh King is a doubt. All right, okay. Well, that's pretty good news for us then, isn't it? That's pretty good news. Jonathan going for a 1-0 Bournemouth win, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy game. It's just not. They are fighting for their lives, and as I said, this is a game that they will view as one that they can win. And also, it's like that old football thing, isn't it? They're kind of due a result, and Newcastle roll into town. We know the rest. Mark thinks 2-0 to us. I'd like to see Gale score to put that miss behind him. Who starts up front tomorrow? Is Carroll back in? Is Gale in? I'd be interested to know, actually. 3-0. David thinks 3-0 to Newcastle. Okay, so that's positive. Positive from David. So yeah, a bit of a real mix, actually. I think it's realistic as a set of fans to kind of have that view over this game. I think I think the Villa game we all thought we were going to win. Everyone I spoke to thought we were going to roll over Villa, and unfortunately we didn't really show up properly, did we? Which was a shame. But we still got a point. Muto, yeah, possibly. Start with Carroll. I would probably start with Carroll if he's fit as well, Peter, to be perfectly honest with you. I would like to see us play 2 strikers, though. I really would. So, I don't know. Who knows? Carroll and Joe Linton, maybe. Something like that. Muto is due a start. Possibly he is. It could be. It depends how much Bruce thinks he needs to use the squad, really, doesn't it? I think that's what it depends with. Golfing Johnny, if Ashley stays, the stadium will be as empty as it is now. Yeah, like I say, I think there will be lots more people walk away if Ashley stays. But I just think that each to their own. It's tricky. Sean's questioning 2 up front. Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you play 2 up front? I don't see why that's such a questionable thing against Bournemouth. I just think, why not start with 2 strikers and see what happens? I don't see why that is. Why shouldn't we do that? See what happens. We might surprise ourselves. Ian, you mentioned Mark Parker. You mentioned you did NFL stuff in the past. Is that something you will be doing when the season starts? And which NFL team do you support? Okay. I love it. I love the NFL. Yeah, I'm a massive NFL fan, and my team is the Seahawks. And but really, I just generally love the league in general. I've not done any NFL stuff on this channel. And I don't think I will, because this channel's about Newcastle, it's about football. So I'm not planning on doing any stuff related to the NFL on this channel. However, I do love it. Yeah, I love the NFL. So if you ever want to chat about it with me, because I love it. Carroll and Miggy up front, a la Crouch and Defoe, little and large. Yeah. So, we've got a few. I know that Andrew and Jonathan, they're both NFL fans. Panthers fans. Carolina Panthers fans. How are you feeling about Cam Newton going to the Patriots? I'd be a bit gutted about that, but it's good to see Cam Newton back in the league, at least. Do I like rugby? I do. My eldest daughter, played rugby for about 5 years, and so I really kind of got into it then. It was a sport that I never really got into, rugby union I'm talking about here, and but then I kind of really got into it on the back of her playing it, and I went to watch. So my eldest daughter, about 3 years ago, we went to Northern Ireland where the Women's Rugby World Cup was on, and her team went on tour. During that, and we went to the Kingspan Stadium in Belfast, and we watched the Rugby World Cup final, which was against the New Zealand All Blacks ladies versus the England ladies, and the All Blacks won. But yeah, so yes, I do like rugby union these days. It's a sport I've grown to really enjoy. I still think rugby league is a better spectator sport, though. I think rugby league is a better sport for just to watch. So because I kind of really like rugby league, but I've never been to a rugby league game. Mark Parker's a Vikings fan. Okay, and Alex likes the Cardinals. Okay, so there's quite a few NFL fans here. Okay, I like that. That's awesome. Loads of NFL fans. Yay! If you don't like it, that's fine. But if you've never tried watching it, I would recommend it. Because that's what I did. I was just happened to be awake one evening about 11 years ago with my brother-in-law, and the Super Bowl was on, and we just decided to watch it. And it was the Saints versus the Colts, and the Saints won, and it was awesome. So yeah, if you've never watched it, go and watch it. Give it a try. Honestly, don't judge it before you've actually tried to watch it. Lee, how did I find being on Extra Time? Yeah, really good. So if you didn't see it, I was on, after the Man City Cup game, I was on the Gallagher Shots Extra Time programme. If you go check out the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel, that video's still up from Man City, and it was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So with Emil hosting, and there was Brian, the guy called Brian on, and Shell, who a lot of you might know from Twitter, the Twitter lawyer, if you like. So she was on too, and yeah, it was great fun. Really enjoyed it. I know that Lee's been on it in the past as well, so go and check it out. Honestly, the Gallagher Shots, they do great content, so go and watch them. So there we go. Andrew says he wishes Cam all the best. Yeah. He's a great guy. Peter Robson was a Cincinnati Bengals fan as a kid. Oh, right, okay. Do you still follow it, Peter, or do you not? I mean, the Bengals are quite depressing, so I'd imagine, is that why you gave up on them, because they're just depressing? Never mind. Right, Golf enjoyed. Looks like Ashley's getting the cheapest players in, because why would you spend if you're going to sell? Yeah, again, and that is the crux of the issue, really, because we are getting to a point where this is affecting next season. We should be in full prep mode for next season. We're going to have a really short pre-season, maybe 6 weeks, maybe less. And all the other clubs starting to do deals, starting to sort their squads out. What are we doing? You know, Ashley doesn't plan at the best of times very well. So with this situation going on, it's even more critical that the Premier League make a decision one way or the other, because at the end of the day, if we're stuck with Ashley, we need a plan in place. Otherwise, next season is going to be horrendous. Peter says he loves Shell, and Lee's saying Reese will have you, Peter. Yeah, Reese is, if you don't know, so Shell's the one of the lawyers, and Reese is her partner, and they do videos together about, they kind of break down some of the legal stuff on the takeover. So there we go. It's quite funny. Thanks. Sean, New England Patriots. Yeah, so quite a spread of teams actually. I was lucky enough to actually go across to America a couple of years ago and watch 2 games over there. Went to New York and watched the Giants versus the Seahawks, and then I watched the Eagles take on the Redskins in Philadelphia. So that was really cool. That was good. Our plan is to give Bruce £10 and hope for the best. That kind of is, though, isn't it? That's not like, I know you say that as a joke, but like it's kind of that bad. It's kind of that bad with Ashley. But we do need to be planning for next season. There's no doubt about that. Right, would it be a live stream with me if I didn't do some sort of quiz? Because I prepared another guess who they are. So let's do like a fastest finger first on this one. I think you'll get this quite easily, if I'm honest. So let's see who's the quickest. Let's see who can get these 2 players the quickest. Okay, who are these? Bit older. If you're a younger fan, maybe that might be tricky for you, but I'm sure some of the older crowd will know these 2 straight away. One of them, one of my favourite ever players for Newcastle, actually. Let's see who's going to get it right. Jasmine wants Sunderland to be playing non-league football soon. Yeah, I'm in that camp, Jasmine. I'm not in the camp of we'll bring back the derbies. I just want them to be down there forever. I'm not bothered about seeing them go out of business, but it'd be hilarious if they're in League One for a while. Okay, got some answers coming through now. So we've got Andrew saying Hughes, not Hughes. Peter Robson. Oh, Peter Robson has got it right. Lots of people getting Lee Clark. The second player, not Dab, is asked Jasmine. It's Lee Clark and Gavin Peacock. And Gavin Peacock was just one of my all-time favourite Newcastle players. He's probably like my like as a child, he was probably my first ever favourite Newcastle player, if that makes sense. Like he was my first player that I absolutely loved going to watch. And great, yeah, just great player. And sadly left the club. He went to Chelsea, and the reason being I think his son was born, and I think had some kind of disability, or there was something anyway with his son, and he moved to Chelsea to live nearer his family in London. So he kind of left us, but he was a great player, absolutely brilliant player. So if you've not seen Gavin Peacock play, go and check him out, go and watch some old YouTube clips of him. Lee, thoughts on the NUFC tweet? Is this the tweet about where they said, "Oh, we've had a response from Richard Masters"? Is that the tweet you're referring to? I saw that, and I thought it was just like, yeah, you've got a standard response. Richard Masters has not written to you. You've got a response from his PA, a standard letter, I think. But I mean, what do people think about the NUST? In my view, they've got good intentions. And I know that there are memberships and they do things on behalf of their membership, and they do some good stuff. But I do sort of question some of the stuff they've done. I think that right into the Premier League about 97% of fans want this. Well, 90%, maybe they put it as 97% of their members, but it kind of made it look like they're speaking for everyone, and maybe they're not. I don't know. So yeah, if that was the tweet, I think I did kind of catch that briefly, Lee, and I think that I think it was kind of, it was a bit look at us, wasn't it? Look at what we've done, but I don't know. At the end of the day, right into the Premier League isn't going to do anything, and again, and I know lots of people have been asked, have I signed the petition? But if I'm perfectly honest with you, I don't see what that's going to achieve at this stage. It's not going to do anything. Maybe I'm just being pessimistic there, but does anyone agree with me? Does the petition is just to me seems pointless? I know we all want it to happen. I know we all want good things for Newcastle. We want the deal to be done. I think the fact that Bruce and Shearer both came out this week, the fact that we've had some journalists now come out, like national journalists come out and say, this is not okay. Luke Edwards, despite what you think of him, he did a really great interview on TalkSport today, really sticking up for Newcastle and Newcastle fans. Henry Winter, also, one of the best national journalists out there, putting the pressure on. So this has become an issue, and the pressure is ramping up on the Premier League. I think stuff like that's far more effective. And I know that how else can the fans have a voice unless they do a petition? But I think that's far more going to get a better, it's going to get a quicker result having big names in the game and journalists putting pressure on the Premier League. That's my view on it. Andrew says 100% of the fans want the takeover. Yeah, I mean, that's true. 100% of the fans want rid of Ashley. I would say there are definitely some Newcastle fans who have reservations about the Saudi regime. I am in favour of the Saudis taking over, but I do have some reservations. But then I kind of look on it. Maybe I try to be optimistic about it and think, well, maybe they are trying to change, maybe they are trying to get better, and maybe that's a good thing. So, yeah, let me know what you think. I'd be interested to know what other people think about this. NUST demanding a 10% stake in the club, tell me they're crazies. I didn't know that, Jonathan. And if I'm perfectly honest with you, I don't follow everything that the NUST do, and that's just a personal opinion. It's a personal thing. It's not because they're necessarily doing bad things, but I didn't know that they've demanded that. I mean, that's not going to happen. It's stupid. I know why they might try and do that, but what they should be doing is, with whatever new owner we get, which will happen at some point, they need to be working with that owner. They shouldn't be worrying about trying to get a stake in the club. They need to be, having lines of communication that fans can buy into and believe in. Jasmine asked a really good question. What was your first footballer autograph? Hers was Alan Shoulder. Now, this is a really interesting question, and I'm going to tell you the answer, and you're going to find it weird. And I don't quite understand why I got this autograph first. Okay, but I did. This is true. So I think it was probably after Italia 90. So I was probably about 7 or 8. And I really liked David Platt. And he played for Aston Villa at the time. And so I wrote to Aston Villa and I wrote to David Platt and I got his autograph and he sent me a signed photograph back. I don't still have it. I don't know what happened to it in the end. It got lost somewhere. But yeah, so I wrote to David Platt. I got David Platt's autograph. The first Newcastle player that I got an autograph from, Gavin Peacock. So again, wrote to Gavin Peacock and got his autograph. So the first Newcastle player was Gavin Peacock, but the first footballer I ever got an autograph from was randomly David Platt. So there you go. Rumours that the Mackems are going into administration, good or bad. I'll be honest. I'm not comfortable with any football club going out of business. I don't like Sunderland. I don't want them to do well. I don't want to play against them. I want them to be in the lower leagues. But I don't want to see any football club go out of business. So I think it's bad if they go into administration, and because that is not a good place to be in. And despite let's be honest, we've all got friends who are Mackems somewhere along the line. Most of them are decent people. I've worked for Mackems in the past. One of my best, probably the best manager I ever had in any job was a Mackem. And at the end of the day, they've made a bad choice supporting Sunderland. But you don't want to see fans suffer because of decisions that are made by idiots running their club. Let's see what else we've got. Kian, what was your favourite signing of Newcastle that wasn't Shearer? Ooh, that's a good question. That is really hard. I think the one that springs to my head initially is Les Ferdinand. I got really excited about Les Ferdinand when he signed. Maybe it was just the age I was at, because I was just that little bit older when he signed. He was the first player I ever got on the back of my shirt. So it was the beautiful 95 kit, Les Ferdinand. And I remember we ordered it by post and it seemed to take forever to come. And I had Ferdinand 9 on the back. So I was very excited about Les Ferdinand. Obviously, yeah, Shearer. Who else have been really excited about when they've signed? Quite a few, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, but I'd say Ferdinand. I can't think of anyone that would top that. So probably Les Ferdinand, just for sheer excitement. Jonathan saying MBS is a reformer. He's implemented good change and is continuing to. Let's embrace them, not shut them out. Yeah, and I think that's kind of, although there are issues, and I have some issues, I think that obviously we've had a lot of time to think about where we stand as people and our viewpoints on it. I think that, yeah, I'm coming down on that side, Jonathan, really, that you've got to kind of believe that they're trying to change. You can't, let's be honest, if people judge Great Britain for acts they've done in the past, then no one would ever want to speak to us. So let's hope they do reform, and let's hope that being more public in the Western world, buying into Western businesses, helps the situation in their country. Thank you, Jasmine, about my David Platt story. I prefer Sunderland to survive and suffer, Mark says. Yeah, that's basically my point of view as well. Yeah, it'd be great if they're in League One for another 5 years. It'd be hilarious. It'd be great. So let's hope they are. Peter was excited when Beardsley re-signed. Now, I obviously remember Beardsley re-signing, and I didn't really get it because I'd not seen him the first time round. But my dad absolutely was like that. And he was telling us how good Beardsley was. And I was thankfully lucky enough to get to see Beardsley play the end of his career at Newcastle. If this takeover doesn't happen, we could be down there with Sunderland. I don't really agree with that, actually, if I'm honest. I think we could possibly get relegated again into the Championship, but I think that it's very different. Mike Ashley hasn't landed us in the crap with big contracts, lots of money. He's run a bit of a tight ship, and I think even if we got relegated again and Ashley wasn't our owner, then I think we might be... I don't think we would crash like Sunderland did. We might stay in the Championship for a while, but I think we'd probably... It would take a hell of a collapse to end up like Sunderland. They rode their luck for years in the Premier League. They should have been relegated 4 or 5 times before they actually were. Lee says, unbelievably in hindsight, I was over the moon when we signed Luque. You'd followed him at Deportivo and thought he was a player and a half. The thing is, again, could be circumstance, couldn't it? And it's interesting you say that, Lee. And when I was thinking of other players I was excited about, Owen came into my head. Michael Owen came into my head, but I didn't sort of dare say it. But let's be honest, lots of people were excited when Owen signed. And I was one of them. I thought, because he was a hell of a player, but obviously he turned out to just be lazy and didn't want to be here and just awful. But yeah, when he initially signed, Mark's saying the same thing. Excited when we signed Owen, but that didn't last long. Yeah, there's probably a few of us, actually, if we're honest, with our hands on our hearts. So, right, so Lee was excited when we signed Keegan. Remember it to the day you were 10. As you know, Lee, I was, we've talked about this, but I was too young to see Keegan as a player. And to be honest, I didn't know about... Well, I knew about Keegan, but I didn't... Until he arrived in 92, I didn't get it until that first home game against Bristol City when suddenly St James's Park was full. And then I got it. And then we went on a hell of a ride. Amazing. Yeah, most people were over the moon with Owen. We really genuinely thought Owen was going to be like the next Shearer for us, didn't we? We thought he was going to be the guy who would come in and, score all the goals and be brilliant, but he was injured a lot, he was lazy, he didn't want to play, he was a lot of money. It's awful. Lee's considering his season ticket if it fails, but when push comes to shove, chances are you'll be there. At the end of the day, we just like watching football. And that's it, isn't it? But you just want the club to be able to... You want the club to try to win. Otherwise, what have you got? What have you got if you don't try and win? If I had one more statue, who would it be and why? Wolfzone 23. Well, I mean, if you've seen my video about Keegan, you'll probably know it would be Keegan. I made a video about Kevin Keegan and why... whenever I see a poll on Twitter about who a new stand should be named after, it's always Bobby Robson that comes out on top. And I disagree with that. I think Keegan should be because of what he's done for the club twice. Once as a player, came to... the story about Keegan coming as a player is unbelievable. It wouldn't happen these days. Keegan was an England international, coming towards the end of his career, fair enough, but he was an England international, and Newcastle were in the second division, and he signed for Newcastle. That just wouldn't happen these days. And then what he did for 2 years, he basically, along with some other good players, obviously, who were breaking through at that time, got Newcastle back to the first division. And then, less than 10 years later, he came back as manager, did it all again. Keegan in my view, made Newcastle what it is today. And I can't say that enough. Like, literally... I used like the way the ground was when Keegan arrived in 92 to the way the ground was in 1995, and the difference between the open terraces and the beautiful stadium we had 3 or 4 years later. That happened to the stadium, but it also happened to the team. The team was terrible. Keegan came in and made it one of the best in Europe. The stadium was terrible. Or the ground was terrible, and then 3 or 4 years later we had one of the best stadiums in Europe. Keegan, St James's Park doesn't exist in its current form without Keegan. So Keegan should have a statue. Keegan should have a stand named after him. And it's not because I don't think Bobby Robson deserves those things. I think Bobby Robson's unbelievable, but that's just my point of view. I think Keegan is top of that list. I know people will say Joe Harvey as well, and that's fair enough. But for me, it's got to be Keegan. Yeah, Peter's agreeing. Yeah, some people saying Joe Harvey, all that sort of stuff, and that's fine. What about Malcolm McDonald? I mean, I wasn't alive when Malcolm McDonald played for Newcastle. I understand how good he was. My dad has told me so many times about how great Malcolm McDonald was, and that's fine. But is he in that kind of top 3 or 4 all-time Newcastle greats that would warrant having a statue? Because, I mean, how many statues are you going to have at the end of the day? I don't know. Personally, I'm not sure Malcolm McDonald was at the club long enough or did enough, even though he was great and I understand how good he was. I don't know if he warrants a statue. That would be my view. Joe Harvey, yeah. I would agree Joe Harvey, for what he did, deserves one as well. Alex says, all I've known is Mike Ashley, and hearing all these stories about us being the entertainers, I really just want to see exciting football under new ownership. Yeah. Alex, look, I want all the younger generation of fans to experience what I have been lucky enough to experience when I was kind of a teenager. I grew up when Keegan and his team were at its prime. I was kind of, what was I, 12, 13? And then Bobby Robson came and I was kind of, 18, 19, 20? Just great years, just unbelievable stuff. And I want every single Newcastle fan to experience something similar. Hughie Gallagher, it's a good shout. This is the thing though, isn't it? I mean, how many, like I said, how many statues do you actually have around the stadium? Maybe there should be some kind of I don't know, like Hall of Fame for the club or something like that. I know it's kind of an American thing. Maybe that's like, if any NFL fans out there, you'll know about the Hall of Fame. It's kind of an American thing, but like an official recognition by the club of greatness, and then you can induct lots of people into it. This stream, by the way, has gone on way longer than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to do like half an hour. I'm really enjoying the questions, but I probably will have to go soon. But yeah, so let's do a little bit more, but I will have to go. Kirby, has the competition been done yet? Yes, Kirby, it has been done, and let me just see. Yeah, I'm just double checking. It was Kirby. Kirby, you won. Kirby, you won the competition. So I just needed to check that I hadn't got that wrong. But yes, Kirby, you have won. So well done. I did the draw at the beginning of the show about an hour ago, and you won. So well done. Yeah, so that book and that pin badge and the other pin badge, which will be sent to you when it arrives with me, has come. That is so good. I'm so glad you have arrived in the stream to see that you've won. Well done. Thank you for entering. That's brilliant. Great, well done. Don't tell him, yeah. So yeah, Kirby, get in touch with me on Twitter. Just send me your address, and then I'll get the stuff shipped to you as soon as I've got the final bit of the prize. Well done. Great. I love that. Right, that seems like a perfectly good place to end, in my view. So, yeah, tomorrow night, Bournemouth away. Hopefully we can get the win. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we can get the win. And let's see what team we play. I'll be chatting on Twitter and all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to do a live stream. I'm going to watch it with my daughters tomorrow night. But, yeah. Well done, Kirby, for winning. Thanks for everyone who's entered. Thanks for everyone who's subscribed. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'll be doing another live stream on Friday night, my usual one. And hopefully I'll have another fan on. So I might get in touch with one or two of you and see if one of you can come on Friday night. But yeah, so thank you very much for joining me. And I will see you really soon for another live stream. See you later.